صل على مبيننا صل على محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our dear viewers, and welcome to another episode on the life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, coming to you from MT International Gambia Studios. On today's episode, we are going to talk about various different topics, but the main topic would be the marriage of Hadhrat Ummul-Mu'minin Zainab Bint Khuzaimah radiallahu anha to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From there, we will also touch on the blessed birth of Imam Hussein, and as we have also talked about before, about the birth of Imam Hassan, that was in the 3rd year after Hijrah. And from there, we will talk about some other issues, but here in the studio, I have two guests who are on my immediate right. We have Ustaz Demba, and on his right we have Brother Said Sambaso. Gentlemen, assalamu alaikum and welcome to the program. So Ustaz Demba, like we have said, we begin with the marriage of Zainab radiallahu anha. So you first of all tell us, who was this Zainab and how did she got married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Thank you so much. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a cousin called Abdullah bin Jash, who was martyred in the Battle of Uhud. This cousin of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the husband of Hadhrat Zainab Bint Khuzaimah radiallahu ta'ala anha. When he was killed in Uhud, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, out of his generosity, or he being the role model for the entire mankind, particularly Muslims in general, he wanted to treat this widow, the relative of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with all kindness. And upon the consent of this lady, that is Hadhrat Zainab, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam proposed to marry, sent proposal of marriage to Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha. It took her some time, but then the marriage was performed between the two. And this time Hadhrat Zainab was nearly 30 years of age, and more or less. However, only few months after the marriage, she passed away and was buried in Jannatul Baqi. Zainab Bint Khuzaimah radiallahu ta'ala anha was very generous, and she was a righteous and pious lady. And due to her charity, giving alms to the poor, helping the weak, those who are less fortunate, she was called, generally known as Ummul-Masakin, that is the mother of those who are in need. So she was very generous, but then she passed away a few months after the marriage with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Thank you very much, Ustaz Demba. Like we have said, she was just 30 years, but a few months after their marriage, she unfortunately passed away, and she was buried in Jannatul Baqi. But Brother Said Sambaso, from that death, now we come to talk about the birth of someone else. And we know we have talked about the birth of Imam Hassan. That was in the 3rd year after Hijrah. And in the 4th year after Hijrah, we have another, they were blessed, like Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha were blessed with another child. So you tell us about who that child was.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ustaz, jazakumullah for that question. We just want to go back before talking about that very individual, the child you are talking about. We remember very well the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam has made a very important dua at the occasion of the marriage of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu and Hazrat Fatima radiallahu anha, that after their marriage, the Holy Prophet prayed that Allahumma barik fihima wa barik alayhima. That is, O Allah, grant them blessings in their marriage, and also wa barik fi naslihima, that is, grant them a progeny that is going to be blessed. So it was as a result of this dua that these people were blessed with such a progeny, like the child we are going to talk about, who was Hadhrat Hussein radiallahu anhu, and he was born at the 4th year of Hijrah. That is, when the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to Medina. That's the time this child was born. So it was this very year, like Ustaz Demba has already talked about Ummul Masakin, that is Zainab, Ummul-Mu'minin Zainab Bint Khuzaimah, whose husband passed away on this particular year. That was the very year this child was born. That is by the name Hussein. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa, we have had in a lot of narration where he loved these children very well. He shows the love he has for these children. That is Hassan, that is the brother of Hussein radiallahu anhu, and Hussein himself. To the extent that is narrated, the Holy Prophet would often refer them as his two flowers. And we know flowers shows, understand, or express love, sort of. And also, it was this very Hussein, we will came to realize that it was this very Hussein who was martyred cruelly on the 10th of Muharram in the 61 year after Hijrah. That is 61 years after the migration of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa in the era of Yazid bin Muawiyah, who was the son of Amir Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. So, and also we should remember it was upon the death of this very individual who the Holy Prophet loved so much so that to the extent he referred him a flower. It was as a result of his death that the Shia today in the present age, they will keep on mourning on this particular day. That is the 10th day of the month of Muharram, which is referred to as the custom of Taziyah. Understand, where they will be beating themselves and showing that grief that this son was martyred on this particular day.
Just probably to dwell on this custom of Tazia Dari, this is also a thing that we see it found itself in Islam. And at the time of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it has nothing to do in Islam. Neither did the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam practice this, neither did his companions practice this. And in fact, we can even say even the early Muslims did not practice this. We recall that the companions of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who were killed, numbering up to around 70 or so, who were killed, most of them were Hufas, but the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam never mourned them in such a way. And we have many companions during the Battle of Uhud, those things, also those who were killed, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the companions never mourn in this way. And we should also recall that in Hadith it is mentioned that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was lowering his son to the grave, the eyes were flowing with tears. That is Ibrahim alayhi salam. Then the companions asked him, Holy Prophet, are you the one? He said, we express our grief, but that does not mean we say something which is contrary to what Allah the Almighty wants us to do or act. And we have to know that even the martyrdom of Sayyidina Hamza radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the woman who came to veil for the martyrdom of Hamza radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stopped them. He said, this is not permitted in Islam. Talk less of beating someone, oneself in Islam, and then sustaining injuries.
They don't only beat, they even cut
sustain
their flesh.
Injuries, yes. And one important thing also is important to mention is that people think that these children of Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha, they are twins. Hassan and Hussein. They are not twins. The other one was born in the 3rd year after Hijr, then the other one in the 4th year after Hijr. These two are not twins. In our society today, we see people naming their children Hassan and Hussein, especially when they are twins. They refer that the grandsons of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were twins. They were called Hassan and Hussein, but these two were not twins.
Jazakumullah, Ustaz Temba and Brother Said Sambaso. I think from there now we go back, we go to another subtopic, and that is about the Ghazwa of the Badrul Maw'ud. We know that at the end of the fighting that took place in Uhud, Abu Sufyan and the Holy Prophet ﷺ almost made an agreement when Abu Sufyan wanted to get them as they were climbing the mountain, but he could not reach the Prophet ﷺ. He said, okay, well then, so next year, this time we meet in Badr. And that was a promise that the Prophet ﷺ also said, of course, so next year we meet in Badr. So when it was that same year, the next year, that same time, that same month, the Prophet ﷺ did set out to fulfill his promise. So Ustaz Demba, take us through that.
Yeah, as you rightly mentioned, the Holy Prophet ﷺ set out from Medina towards Badr with nothing less than 1,500 companions, just to fulfill his promise. In Islam, promise is something that we respect a lot, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ doing so was just only to fulfill his promise and then go and meet the disbelievers, because he was confident that these disbelievers will come the next year. So that very year. So this Abu Sufyan, known as Abu Sufyan bin Harb, also set out from Mecca with 2,000 fighters or warriors, you call them. When he was setting out, Abu Sufyan himself, he sent one man called Naim. He told him, go towards Medina and meet the Muslims, and you make sure that incite fear, even if you are going to incite fear in their hearts, they should not come out in Medina. They should not come out. Because he, despite the fact that he promised they are going to fight the Muslims that year, a year after the battle of Badr, so of Uhud, promising that, he was afraid still with that huge number that he is having, 2,000 warriors, but he was still afraid because he know what happened in Uhud. And with all those factors, he considered all those factors. He told this man that he have to create fear in the hearts of the Muslims so that they don't leave Medina.
So that the Muslims will not leave
Medina
and head towards Badr.
Head towards Badr, so that fight will not take place, if we can make it simple for our listeners. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ, when this man reached in Medina, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he addressed the people, created some fears and a noise that perhaps he may be saying the disbelievers' numbers, there are many, they are preparing in a huge amount number of people, and you should be ready, you cannot face them. Probably words like that, which in fact discourage some Muslims who are not that much strong in their faith. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ, in return, he told the Muslims that even if I have to go and fulfill this promise alone, I will go, because this was a promise I have taken with the disbelievers, and I'll make sure that I will go out, march out to fulfill this promise. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ motivated those companions. They were again charged up, and then they decide to walk towards Badr.
Okay, thank you very much, Ustaz Demba. Brother Said Sambaso, we have seen that the Meccans did their plan to send someone to Medina to say things that were not true about the Meccan army that will discourage the Muslims from setting out. And that person they sent did succeed to an extent. But when the Prophet ﷺ came out to speak to the Muslims, he talked to them about jihad and about the promise that they took. Now they were again ready to set out, and they did set out. But did the Meccans also, who set out from Mecca heading towards Badr, did they reach Badr? If not, then what happened?
Jazakumullah, thank you very much. As Demba was saying, that the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa was always ready to accept or to fulfill his promise. And this is why when the weak Muslim, whom you know that they were weak in their faith, when they began to understand, have fear about going to another war, because they remember the war that happened in Battle of Uhud. So it was kind of a success for that Naim to create anxiety and fear in the heart of those Muslims. But the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam have told them very clearly, he said, we have already accepted the challenge of the Christ and we have promised to set out on this occasion. Therefore, we cannot turn back, even if I am required to go alone, as Ustaz has already mentioned. But then, so it was as a result of this, the Muslims, they set out and they went towards, that is Badr, they reached there. So he says, in any case, the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam set out from Medina with the number of people going up to 1,500 companions. And the opposing side, that is Abu Sufyan people, they were going up to 2,000 people, warriors. But as we said, however, these people, despite attaining such a victory in Uhud, they were still having that fear in their heart that this time is going to be, might be a different thing. So that's why Abu Sufyan was doing all plans to make sure that the Muslim did not come out, so that there is not going to be any war that is going to happen. Understand? So when that happened, the Muslim, they reached at Badr according to their promise, but then that of the army of the Quraysh, they came out some distance. Understand? They retreat towards Mecca. They did not reach Badr at exactly, but the Muslims themselves, they reached to this place according to their promise. So according to this, because of Abu Sufyan realized that Naim has already failed in achieving the objective, that is to create an anxiety and fear in the hearts of the Muslim, so that they will not come. So as a result of this, he now came up with another plan so that war is not going to happen. And the plan, he says, is that this year, the famine is very severe. He said that, and people are facing financial difficulty. Therefore, he said it is not wise to fight at this time. He said we shall attack Medina with greater preparation when a time of affluence is at hand. So this was the excuse he used, that it was a famine year. That means there was no harvest and rain was not coming as expected. So it's going to be very hectic and difficult upon them if they are to fight with the Muslims. So it is better for them to go back and have a more preparation to the following year, so that they can fight with the Muslims. So all this was geared towards the postponement of such a war that is going to happen between the Muslim and the Quraysh themselves. So, but then, as we said, the Muslims were at Badr and they stayed there for a few days, according to narration, going up to 8 days. So, and also it is recorded this year, that year was the year of the carnival, where you know that a business transaction take place. So it was a greater opportunity for the Muslims themselves to participate on this particular carnival, and it was recorded that they attained a lot of profits on this very carnival. They stayed there up to 8 days, and then they returned back towards Medina, since there was no battle that happened between them. So in essence, the Muslims themselves, they reached Badr, but the Quraysh themselves tried to find an excuse. They did not reach to this particular place. So the Muslim has fulfilled their promise, but the Quraysh did not fulfill their promise.
Thank you very much, Brother Said Sambaso and Ustaz Dembaba. And now we go to the marriage of Ustaz Demba. We go to the marriage of Salama radiallahu ta'ala anha. And this all happened in that same year, the 4th year after Hijrah. So tell us about Salama, who she was and how she got married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Thank you so much. Salma was the wife of Abu Salama bin Abdul Asad. This man was also a noble companion of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We recall that in our programs, Muslims migrated to Abyssinia before Medina. This very lady was among the first women who also migrated to Abyssinia. She was among them. The husband passed away in this very year, that is the 4th year after Hijri. Then she was a widow, having children. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before that, when she observed the Iddah, that is the waiting period, which are in Islam, when she observed that Iddah, it finished, Hadhrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, who happened to be the first Khalifa of Islam after the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, approached her because he wanted to marry her. Then she declined the the proposal, then the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was always ready to remove the difficulties of people, especially a family like some great companions, and even the lady herself was a great companion, and she was very intelligent, very educative. She was indeed among the righteous believing women as well. When the Holy Prophet ﷺ initially approached her for a marriage, she declined by saying that she is too old and she is not able to bear children anymore. But then that was not the purpose of the Holy Prophet ﷺ marriage. The purpose of the Holy Prophet ﷺ marriage was different, maybe to educate the Muslims women. That was very important at the time, since she also have that standard that she was educated, and she was, in fact, even the narrations of hadith, she happened to be the second who narrated the hadith among the women. But from among the men side, she fell on 12th. So meaning that she was indeed an educated woman. She had a lot. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ proposed to her, and she ultimately agreed with the proposal. And her son was the wali of her. He happened to be the wali. He became the wali and then gave her in marriage to the Holy Prophet ﷺ. But we have to also understand that this companion of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, Abu Salama bin Abdul Asad, he was also a foster brother of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. So therefore, Holy Prophet ﷺ took upon himself the responsibility to help the bereaved family and then to remove them in all those difficulties. And this same woman, she lived an age long, up to 84 years. She passed away during the era of Yazid. Yazid, who the promised Messiah ﷺ described him as the notorious. He said, of course, Abu Sufyan, the son of Abu Sufyan, that is Yazid bin Muawiyah, the son of Abu Sufyan, was a righteous companion of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, but Yazid was the filthy one. So Yazid, this same Yazid, is the one who inflicted pain upon the family of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and the companions, the like of Imam Hassan radiallahu ta'ala anhu. On the 10th of Muharram, Imam Hussein, on the 10th of Muharram, all these, numbering up to around 70 or more companions, were killed by the army of Yazid, this filthy Yazid. So we also recall that incident, and we definitely celebrate that in an extent that we send more blessings upon the family of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. We do what Allah is pleased with, but we don't displease Allah while expressing our griefs upon the martyrdom of Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu.
Thank you very much, Ustaz Demba. I think our beloved Huzur has said in some of his khutbah that how to celebrate that day. It is to send blessings on the Prophet ﷺ and the family of the Prophet ﷺ, because we have seen in that history that there was this person from the family of the Prophet ﷺ who stood for the truth, and he did not flinch even when they were throwing arrows and spears on him. He never flinched and he never budged, he never moved away from the truth. And this was the exact thing that the Prophet ﷺ stood for. Therefore, if he, from his own progeny, have people who also stood for the truth like their grandfather did, then that is something that we should celebrate. And that is the line along which we should celebrate, and not like our brothers, the Shias, do, cutting themselves and beating themselves up. That is not part of the celebrations that we are taught in Islam. And the promised Messiah ﷺ and his Khulafa indeed has taught us that we should, as Muslims, send blessings on the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ when we remember those events and even those days they come in our lives. Brother Said Sambaso, now we are going to another topic. We are heading to the compilation of the Holy Quran. But before that, we should go steps back and see who were the scribes of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. had he some scribes, people who write for him when revelation comes and the like?
Of course, Jazakumullah, thank you very much. Since we learn from the Holy Quran, the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Holy Quran has referred him to as Ummiyun, the Prophet of Ummiyun, somebody who was unlettered, and that is why it was very important that he have somebody who will write for him. So, among the most well-known individual who was writing for the Holy Quran when it was revealed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Zainab Bint Thabit, who was referred to as the private secretary of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is, whenever revelation was revealed to the Holy Prophet sallallahu, the Holy Prophet sallallahu himself will order this very individual to be taking note or writing this in an Arabic. But then also, as we know, Islam is meant for the entire world. So, and that is why the message of Islam has to be conveyed to all type of people, all tribe and all languages. So this is why it is very important that Muslims themselves should acquire a lot of knowledge in different languages and in different books. So it came at a time when it was needed among the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ that they should learn different languages. For instance, we talk about Zaid bin Thabit, whom in our previous episode we have said that he acquired his Arabic knowledge in the hand of those captives who were captured at Badr. That was among the conditions the Holy Prophet put in place, that if they want to be released, that one of the conditions is that those learned people can also teach the Muslim, then therefore they can have their release. So Zaid bin Thabit was the very fortunate individual who was among those people who were taught on how to read and how to write. So as a result of that, the Holy Prophet witnessed a lot of zeal and intelligence in this very individual, and then he ordered him to go and acquire knowledge in Hebrew. As we know, the Injil, that is the book of the Bible, was originally, and the Torah was originally written in Hebrew language. And then the Holy Prophet was dealing with the Jews at that particular time. We said Medina was having people who, you know, that they are Jews, like the Hadhrat, like the Banu Khaynuka, the Banu Qurayza, and Banu Nadir who were there. So it is always the Holy Prophet come in contact with these people, and then so therefore there should be a language that, you know, that they can communicate. So this is why he ordered this very young individual to go and acquire knowledge in Hebrew, and then according to narration, in 15 days this very individual was able to learn a lot in Hebrew language. Also, we should remember this very Zaid bin Thabit was among the companions when there was a need for the book to be gathered or to be collected in a form of manuscript. This was the very individual who was contacted by the Khulafa of the time, that was Hadhrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So this was among the companions whom, you know, they were writing the revelation whenever a revelation was revealed to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But there are many, even Hadhrat Abu Bakr, Usman, they were all very instrumental when it comes to this. But we just point out to this individual because of he was ordered to do a specific thing, that is to go and acquire Hebrew language.
Yeah, and he as well was the one who led the putting together of all the manuscripts in the time of Hadhrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala. He was the head of that team. And thank you very much, Brother Said Sambaso and Ustaz Tembaba. This is all time allowed us. I think the discussion is very interesting and we will want to continue. But as we have already started about the compilation, in our next program we are going to talk about the compilation in details. But for now, this is all time allowed us. We thank you very much for being with us, and we hope to get you in our next program, inshallah. Viewers, this is all time allowed us. We were today talking about some very different topics, and we have talked about a part of what we have talked about is about Zaid bin Thabit, about how he acquired the knowledge of the Hebrew language, and like Brother Said Sambasoa said, he did it just in 15 days. That was the zeal of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ to acquire knowledge, and as well as do other things or the orders of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So this is all time allowed us. From Most MT International Gambia Studios, we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
صل على مبيننا صل على محمد محمد صل على نبينا صل على محمد